I just wanted to say on behalf of the Sydney Swans Football Club and everyone involved with us to pass on our deepest condolences to the family and friends of the people that were tragically killed and injured in the Hunter Valley accident on the weekend. It's just tragic for everyone. There's a strong AFL connection that's becoming apparent over the last couple of days that it's affected people right through football, or AFL football, and particularly New South Wales and particularly community football. So I just wanted to acknowledge everyone's hurt during this period of heartache right through the community. So thank you.
Will the club be doing anything to honour the victims during the Brisbane game?
The players will be wearing armbands, and unfortunately there's not a lot we can do or say to make it better. But we wanted everyone to know that everyone's in our thoughts, and it's a tragic time.
You see a lot of people come through this place and going through tough times. How much does it sort of lift people when they are going through tough times, just to have the support of a club that they follow, that they love?
Yeah, look, I don't know. Hopefully, but knowing full well that no matter what we say or do, can't make it better and can't bring those people back. So, you can't help but look at the papers. You look at the faces, and I don't know them personally, but just imagine the heartache that those people are going through and their families. It's just extreme, and it was just so sad. And we'll do what we can. We know it's not much in the bigger scheme of things, but we'll try and do what we can.
On the field, another disappointing result last week. The last quarter, obviously disappointing. Is that a real area of concern? And what are you doing to address it?
Yeah, it is. We got to. It's a snapshot of our games, our season, which has been up and down, and we're working on the consistency of it and trying to get that better. And a number of times we've been right in the game at halfway through the last quarter. There's been a couple of examples, the North Melbourne example a couple of weeks ago, that we put the foot down and went again and played better, finished the game off strongly. Another one against Carlton the week before where we played a really strong quarter, but just there was I think 5 free kick goals, 2 50-metre penalties in that last quarter that were really costly. So it's something we're working on. We're not happy with it, but some basic errors of judgment at different times have been costly for us. And once the ball got into the back half last week, we couldn't get it out in that last quarter.
You mentioned Chad, Errol and Hayden in your mid-season report and gave them praise.
Yep.
Given where you are on the table, by definition, does that mean there's a fair few squad members who still have to earn your praise in the back half of the season?
Oh no, only because they weren't mentioned doesn't mean that they haven't had good years. I was asked a couple. I didn't have the list in front of me. I just went through a couple. No, we've been, I think our players in general over the last couple of years have had really consistent, good, strong seasons. And this year, for whatever reason, whether it's players coming in and out or just lack of consistency, we've had a number of players up and down, and haven't had as consistent a season to this point. Now, there's still a fair bit of footy to play, and so there's still a fair bit to get out of it, and so that's what we want to make sure. If we've had an inconsistent season to date, either as an individual or as a team, which we have, we need to make sure we finish off really strongly. So that's our challenge.
The AFL's issued a video, I think, that's gone out like a VNR to all coaches about dangerous tackles. I'm told by my Melbourne colleagues that some of the AFL coaches south of the Murray aren't even going to show their players the video. Are you going to?
Oh, we didn't show it last week. We only got it just before the game. But I think it's really difficult. It's a real challenge when you ask your players to show a level of intent in a tackle. There needs to be a level of intent that you need to do to get hold of a player and grab him and try and dispossess him. Now, you're also at the same time asking him halfway through that tackle to be very gentle and make sure he has a duty of care. Now, it's no surprising that it's not right all the time. We're asking a hell of a lot of our players, and there has been a lot of talk and chatter about it, and I think that I don't know where it's going to go, other than the fact that if a player obviously does hit his head in any tackle, what we've said to our players is that we're not sure what will happen. And so we hope that there's a good outcome to that, either importantly for the player that he doesn't get hurt. We're going to make sure we have a duty of care, but then also either a free kick or tribunal. So we certainly feel like as an industry we're sort of going through a bit of a where's this going to go type phase.
Is it getting to the stage where the defender's on a hiding to nothing?
Well, I hope not. I mean, there's always going to be tackles in football. That's just going to be part and parcel of what happens. So I hope not. I mean, I just hope there's a level of understanding of how difficult it is to show a level of intent and then halfway through make another decision. And understanding that's what we'll try and teach our players, but understanding they're not always going to get it right. And also understanding in slow motion it can look dramatically different. And we had Luke Parker a couple of weeks ago go through a similar incident, and we thought that his feet were off. He didn't have a level of foundation that he could do much more. What are his options? And I think that's something to always try and keep in mind. And what you see on a slow motion video is hard to really replicate out on the ground and get the decision right every time.
As a coach, can you see the difference between why Dan Butler's one is overturned last night and why Luke's wasn't a couple of weeks ago? Can you see that?
One was concussed and one wasn't.
Do you think that's the only reason?
There were different tackles. They were different. One was a chase down tackle from behind. One was sort of a lunge when he didn't have a great stability and sort of reached out, and grabbed. We don't want to see what happened, obviously, with McCluggage. We don't want to see that in the game. But clearly, we want to make sure everything that we do in the game is around protecting the players. We want to do that as much as we can. It's very hard to outlaw accidents, or it's very hard to outlaw everything in football. So, hopefully, it sort of finds its level, which these things tend to do, and hopefully this is another example of it.
Yeah. So John, I think you're one of the best coaches in the game, and in my opinion, I think Swans will make finals this
You
season.
can come to every press conference.
How are you feeling going into Friday night? It's a massive game for you guys. Have you got the boys fired up?
Hope so. We had our main training session today and got through that well, which is always good. We get Luke Parker back in the team, which is terrific, one of our co-captains. We play Brisbane up in Brisbane, who are a great team, a top 4 team, so it won't be easy. We need to play a bit better, hopefully for 4 quarters, and we're a bit consistent, but hopefully we jump out of the blocks a bit better than what we did last week.
And obviously Brisbane's forward line, notoriously very tall, and Sydney's, so the Swans' back line has been kind of decimated by injury. What ways are you looking to reconcile that difference?
Well, fortunately, Francis and Melican over the last couple of weeks have come back in the team, and Rampy played his first game in a long time last week. So hopefully that we start to get a few players back, and we've got our fingers crossed over the next couple of weeks that'll be a similar type tale that we'll be able to get some more players back, and we feel that's good. But we've still got the talent there and the personnel there this week to be a really competitive unit, and we feel like whilst they're tall and great marks and they've got some mixture in there as far as Bailey and Cameron, the ability to be able to kick great goals. We feel like we've got the defenders to be able to at least match that, and hopefully if our intent and our pressure up the ground's good, they're not a great contested ball team. If we can break even and do a really good job that, and hopefully get our noses in front of the contested ball, it gets the ball in our front half.
How are the likes of Tom McCartan and Cal Mills tracking?
Good, which is great news. It's they both trained today, which was terrific, and so they got through a training session today, which was great, and they hopefully pull up well this afternoon and tomorrow, and it was good to see the boys out there today. They were loving it, so hopefully they continue their path.
And obviously you kind of pulled off Nick with the toe issue and that sort of thing. How's he pulled up this week?
Pretty good. He trained today, so we weren't sure after the game and probably even a couple of days ago how he was going to go. So he got through training today, did what he had to do. Hopefully if he pulls up well, he'll be okay.
And did you have an eye on the VFL with Jack Woolley getting 5 goals on the weekend?
Just had a sneaky look, and we picked up a couple of the mid-season boys, Jack and Harry, and we had our first win in the VFL team, and it was a really good game of footy. Went right down to the last 2 minutes, and Jack was super, and so was Harry. They were great. Just to get a couple of mature age 21, 24-year-olds, bigger bodies into our VFL team amongst a lot of our 18, 19-year-olds made a big difference, and it was good to see. They both did a good job.
Brisbane's come off. Brisbane's come off a tough loss last week as well as the Swans. So how are you going to make sure that the Swans keep up the morale to be able to fight against, I guess, these two teams who are both seemingly very hungry to come at each other?
Oh well, that's what it is. That's AFL footy. It's we've got to make sure we jump out of the blocks better than what we did last week. We just sort of mucked around with the ball a bit last week, and we've got to be. We didn't get any ground position that we probably should have done earlier. We know that Brisbane are a very, they'll get the ball forward into their big, tall marking forwards if they get midfield dominance. We've got to be strong in the midfield. They've got a very good ruckman who surges the ball forward. If we go okay in stoppages and get some ground position, I think we'll be okay.